Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
I got 2 drinks right next to me here. Sprite, my favorite soda, pop, whatever you want to call it, and a water. Because I am ready. I'm prepared. And you wanted me to talk about it before? I said let's wait until more news comes out with it. Until a solution comes out with it. And it has. And now it's time to talk. So let's talk. All I can say at this point to start, I don't even know where to start. Some people may continue to battle back, win some battles, but at the end of the day, they still can't win the war. Guys, what's going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993. We're live on this Friday night. We're going to be talking about a few things. I wanted to get the SmackDown review done tonight, which originally I was not going to go live. Because, I'll be honest, I didn't pay the best attention to SmackDown. I was definitely distracted and trying to get more information about this breaking news. Keeping a sharp eye out on what's the actions that have transpired the past 48 hours regarding the WWE, TKO Group Holdings, Vince McMahon. Like, this whole week has just been nuts. Between that, we had the new Netflix TV deal, Seth Rollins getting injured, rumored leaked WrestleMania changed plans and whatnot. It's been one of those weeks. The momentum is still there for Royal Rumble tomorrow for me. I'm still very excited for the show. But after the news that was revealed tonight, that I first saw reported by Sean Ross Sapp on Twitter, that I knew I had to go live tonight. Well, to start off with, we are going to briefly talk about SmackDown. I'm not going to give it a grade, though, because that's not the main reason why I'm here. We also are going to talk about another piece of news, like a minor piece of news, that kind of ended a little bit on a sour note. I didn't think it should have gone as far as it did. And then we'll get to the big story, the main event. And we may be up here for a bit. Which is why I brought 2 drinks along with me, and I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this, but of course I'm going to be discreet. Watch what I say. Because like I've said many times, I have tried so hard since my channel came back in February of 2020. I've tried so hard to watch what I say. Because as you all know, my channel was gone for 7 months because of something that I said that was taken the wrong way. in one of my Wolfenstein 3D videos for my video game Let's Plays. I made a remark that I was just trying to advise, I was trying to just advise, my preference for styles of maps, but the way I said it kind of came across a little suggestive. I didn't mean it that way, but it got reported. I tried to fight it. I got my channel taken down for 7 months until I submitted a second appeal, basically just like apologizing left and right. So I have tried so hard to make sure that I don't say anything that pushes those boundaries, especially because in 48 hours, I'm supposed to finally be getting that warning removed from my channel. So I'm definitely going to be very careful watching what I say. I'm not going to dig deep into the stories, but I am going to, address what we know and what has happened and give my thoughts about everything that has happened in the past 48 hours with the WWE. So, let's just sit back, let's chill, let's have a nice little late night stream, let's have some fun, and let's talk. Because I'm ready to talk. So as always, guys, be sure to be active in the live chat. Leave your thoughts about everything going on from SmackDown tonight. Any last minute Rumble predictions. If you didn't get a chance to check out my Rumble stream already, check that out as well. The other thing we're going to briefly address is Kevin Patrick. Your thoughts on Kevin Patrick as well. Who the WWE could possibly replace Kevin Patrick with on commentary for SmackDown? Did you think he needed to be fired, though? Could he have been able to get another position with the company, as I think he should have? And, of course, your thoughts on the big news, and it's in the title. The main reason why we're here live tonight. Vince McMahon resigns his position as the executive chairman from the TKO Group Holdings after recent accusations from Janel Grant in the past 48 hours against him that are just absolutely horrific. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, he did it, because it's not been 100% proven yet if he did it. He may somehow get away with it, get around it, I don't know. At this point, with just everything Vince McMahon has done, especially with how he bullied his way back into the company, you just never know. I mean, the big difference now is from whenever he retired in July of 2022 to now, he is not the majority shareholder. He does not have the power he did back in 2022. So, him trying to pull the tactics to get back in, it's very unlikely. But then again, you just never know. But this time, he could be gone for good. But we will just have to wait and see. But of course, sit back and still try our best to enjoy the wrestling content. But we will talk about Vince McMahon in the main event. We're going Iron Man match style tonight, guys. We're going to roll in. We're going to get started. We're going to talk about stuff. And then we're going to get a good night's rest. Do what you got to do during the day tomorrow. And we'll be back up here live tomorrow night for the Men's Royal Rumble live reactions. It'll definitely be me, as of now, Daniel Gaiza. Hopefully also Penta L. Miller, Joe Miller, my friend. And also possibly his wife as well, who might be there as well. I don't know if anybody else is joining us, but it'll hopefully be a very, very fun match to do live reactions for. So, let's roll in first. Check out the live chat. See who we got here. We got Tyler. We've got Mark. And we also have the Fallen Soul 99. Not sure if you've been on the stream before or watched any of the content before, but I appreciate you guys stopping by. And welcome to the show. Tyler says, Vince McMahon, you're fired. He says, I'll review Royal Rumble live, and he did review SmackDown. Nice. let's pray your channel don't get flagged. Like I said, I'm just going to watch what I say and just, take it easy. Because again, I don't want anything to happen. But I do want to at least give my brief thoughts. Not so much on if I think he did it or not. But just my thoughts on just this whole thing. And just how crazy it's been. Like, how crazy the world of wrestling has been, period, since, I would say maybe since Punk came back in August of 2021. But I'd say probably it got even more crazier when Cody Rhodes left AEW, to then Brawl Out, to then Vince McMahon retiring in 2022, to just all this drama and craziness in the wrestling industry. But in an instance like this, again, we don't know for sure if Vince McMahon is innocent or guilty from this. But obviously, though, the image, it was all bad. It had to go. He had to go. Because obviously him sticking around, it was just not going to work. It's not. Tyler also pre-ordered 2K24 last Monday. Nice. I would, but I do not have a PS5. I do not have an Xbox. I unfortunately only have a Nintendo Switch and a PS2. So if it comes out for the Switch, I will probably order it. What else we got here? Mark saying, yes, Vince is gone. Will you live react to the men's and women's Royal match? Just the men's. We're just going to do the men's tomorrow night. The Fallen Soul 99 says, a good day as a wrestling fan. Bye, Vince. Vince got no chance. No chance in hell. Which also, before I went live, I did see, well, earlier in the day, I saw that Vince's merchandise was removed, but also recently, his profile, I even checked too, his profile from WWE's website also has been removed. Ooh. Yes. Tyler does not want Rock and Roman WrestleMania. Fallen Soul 99 says, and he thought everything would work out for Vince. Boy, did that really go wrong after he bullied his way back in. Laughy face, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself if he is guilty or not. Yes, that's the thing here. That's one way to be civil. Vince McMahon has not been proven to be innocent or guilty. But let me just say this. If this is all false, and everything Janel Grant went out of her way to mention, and all the stories, if none of it's true, then man, all I can say is how much crazier can people be? But yeah. So let's get started here. Like I said, I'm going to first start off with a SmackDown review. Again, I'm not going to grade it, just more so just talk about what happened. Again, I will cut this excerpt out of the video as a separate video for those who just want to view SmackDown alone. And then we'll talk about Vince McMahon. But let's roll into the SmackDown portion of this video. Friday Night SmackDown review. This show took place in tonight, January 26, 2024. And it took place in Miami, Florida. And this is the go-home show for the 2024 Royal Rumble match. We had a tag title match and a kind of expected title change, as I kind of expected. We had people appearing to draw their spots in the Rumble. Paul Heyman making a interesting, giving somebody who you just know 100% is not going to get the job done, giving them a task by winning the Royal Rumble and going after Seth Rollins. And when I saw that, I just laughed. I'm like, ha 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 ha. It ain't happening. Because he's already booked like a chump. It ain't happening. And a few other things. We also had 2 additional NXT stars appear on the show. One that I don't think is getting called up yet, but one I think is their official call-up. So, some stuff happened on the show. But like I said, we're not going to grade it. We're just going to go through it. And then get to other things. Before we get to the actual show, though, I do briefly want to talk about Kevin Patrick. Kevin Patrick, it was announced, I think either earlier this week or late last week, shortly after the last episode of SmackDown, that Kevin Patrick, after the Royal Rumble, will be removed as head commentator of SmackDown. Now, at the time, there was no word as to if Kevin Patrick's going to be going back to being a backstage interviewer, or if he's going to be getting like another role. Maybe move him over to color commentator, not be the head commentator, and have him improve. But we're not getting that. It was announced, I think, earlier today, Kevin Patrick got fired. He got fired, which I didn't agree with that. Look, I'm not going to be the first to admit it here, but Kevin Patrick just is not meant to be a lead commentator. In wrestling, at least. But you can tell he tried. He really, really tried his best. And WWE gave him plenty of opportunities. He was on Raw with Corey Graves. And then Corey Graves and Kevin Patrick moved over to SmackDown, which briefly, it was a three-man team because Michael Cole was there. Probably more so just to help out Kevin Patrick. They pulled, of course, Michael Cole from SmackDown, had him just be on Raw with Wade Barrett. And yeah, it just wasn't working out. Again, he tried his best. He tried, but it didn't work. And, not going to knock Kevin Patrick. It's not for him. He's got other talents, but lead commentator for wrestling, it's just not for him, unfortunately. I didn't think he should have been fired, though. I would have just made him backstage producer again. Or not producer, or backstage interviewer again. Or something else. Heck, if you really want to help him improve, like, I've heard rumors that maybe they may call up Vic Joseph from NXT, which he's alright. I could live with Vic. There's some other guy on NXT Level Up, though, I think I heard. Honestly, if you're giving Kevin Patrick a demotion, I would maybe put him either on NXT or even NXT Level Up. I haven't watched a single episode of NXT Level Up, but at least some way for him to still, be involved in the company and get better. Because he seems like a really nice guy. And I think he deserves some type of chance. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I still don't think Kevin Patrick should have been fired. I really don't think that should have been what happened. So I do feel bad for him. I do wish him the best. I just wish that the WWE would have given him something else to do. And not just give him the boot. So definitely wish Kevin Patrick the best in his future endeavors. Thank you for what you did for the company. I mean, it wasn't too much. We appreciate the efforts you trying. Again, it just didn't work out. And it happens. Sometimes people are going to get opportunities, and it's just not going to work out. It didn't work out for Renee Paquette when she was on commentary, which, honestly, it possibly could have if Vince wasn't chirping in her ear. But even so, she's meant to be a backstage interviewer. And she needs to bring back the sessions. I'm sure she has a good reason, but I do miss her being on the sessions. The Sessions, which is her podcast. I think it would have been awesome. But, it's not happening. But, well, right now, but, it is what it is. But yeah. Best of luck for sure for Kevin Patrick. And again, I do hope that something works out for him eventually. Again, it just wasn't, meant to be for him. But I just wish they wouldn't have fired him. I thought that was a little too far. Not too far, but that was a little unnecessary. Let's put it that way. It wasn't great, but it was like, ouch. Like, yeah, he wasn't great at commentary, but didn't you have to go out full out and fire him? He still deserved something in the company. He didn't do anything wrong, as far as I know. But yeah, Kevin Patrick, I wish you the best. SmackDown. Let's talk about SmackDown. The show opened up with Eladio Carrion coming out and getting on a microphone, and apparently he's very good he's a songwriter, and he's very good friends with Randy Orton. Orton comes out, and they embrace and man hug, shake hands and whatnot, and do their thing, and then he lets him go. Randy's like, yo, you didn't think I'd be friends with Eladio? And he talks about the bloodline of Roman Reigns' title reign. Nobody can stop him or the bloodline, but maybe he can. He lays out his vision for winning the title, and then it's simple with the three most destructive letters, RKO. Out comes AJ Styles, who tells Orton to join the club because he asked Nick Aldis for his own match against Solo Sikoa to take off his head. But instead, he gave it to the man that's been stepping on over him, taking his opportunities, L.A. Knight. Yeah! And Orton, of course, even did it as well. He's like, what, nah, with just typical, Orton stuff. But anyways, so he tells Randy, though he has a receipt coming to him, though, after the RKO he gave him last week. And then LA Knight comes out, and you can tell LA Knight has had enough with all this. Of course, people are labeling him as the one, well, he already lost, he already had his shot, but of course, like everybody else, he got screwed over by the bloodline of Crown Jewel. He tells AJ to quit crying because he doesn't want to fight Soul tonight. But as far as he can see, it's real convenient that he's the only one of the four having a match tonight. And that tells him Paul Heyman looks at him as the biggest threat. Especially since he came super close to beating Roman at Crown Jewel. He's going to walk in tonight, not complain, hit Solo so hard he'll do his dad's dance move, and then he'll walk over the three of them to win the title. And that's not just an insult, that is a fact of life. Yeah! And then AJ Styles goes on to lay out Randy Orton with a super kick and a Pele kick. So obviously, Randy Orton's going to come back at him later on in the show. Carlito took on Santos Escobar. And of course, all members of the LWO got involved in the match. Well, outside the ring. With Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro, Humberto Carrillo, and Angel Garza. And then even Zelina Vega was out there. But then she got equalized by a debuting from NXT, Elektra Lopez. Now, I can't remember if Elektra... It's been that long. I cannot remember if Elektra Lopez was with the original Legado del Fantasma or not when I was watching NXT. But I do know she was at one point with them in the group. So, cool. I guess we'll see how it goes. Again, I don't know too much about Elektra Lopez. I mean, I know she exists. We'll see, what she brings to the table. Probably something good to the women's division. I'm still enjoying what's been going on with the storyline. Again, I really think Santos is gelling even more as a heel. I mean, his face run, I think, gave him some momentum. But I think this heel momentum, him being back to being a heel, he's hitting the gas. And he is going to excel and be an excellent heel luchador. And again, I do like that, of course, again, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde being with Carlito, and most likely tomorrow a returning Rey Mysterio, which I predicted in my Rumble predictions. Because we're probably going to get Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar one-on-one at WrestleMania. Who knows, maybe we'll get a returning Andrade Cien Almas as well tomorrow, since he's left AEW. I really think Andrade's coming back. Although, again, I've still heard some rumors of him going to NXT. I mean, heck, we could even see Dragon Lee, still be involved. There's a lot of names in there that could be getting involved. But, and of course, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, which they still call him just Angel and Humberto. Can we call them by their full names, please? But I am intrigued by all this. Santos does win with the folding press. We also, of course, get commentary hyping up Raw moving to Netflix in 2025, as well as The Rock joining the board of TKO, the board of directors. And also, I forgot to mention yesterday, in my Rumble preview, when I mentioned about that, The Rock also was given the full rights to his name. So anywhere now can call him The Rock, because he owns it. AJ Styles is backstage when he runs into Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso. And he tells them everybody knows where LA Knight is tonight. And he asks them to help take care of him because it's good for everyone involved. And then upcoming the OC with Mia Yim. And he asks AJ, what was that all about? And he tells them, don't worry about it. And then we have Nick Aldis and new NXT General Manager Ava Raine, or Simone Johnson, The Rock's daughter, who was just named NXT's General Manager with William Regal on NXT this past Tuesday night. So they roll up, and I guess they were both performing duties of having superstars come in and pick their number in the Rumble. Neither actually showed their number, of course. We'll find out. Of course, a lot of them didn't seem happy about it. But anyways, the first people that came in were Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. They roll up to pick their Rumble entry and have a brief showdown with Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma's 2.0. If you want to talk about it, or we'll call him that. Who knows? We also got a hype video for Bayley hyping up Damage Control, as of course she's on a mission to get all the gold. She wants to win the Rumble and go after Rhea Ripley. She's hyping the Kabuki Warriors with their women's tag title match against the champs Katana Chance and Kaden Carter later on in the show. R-Truth also showed up, and he sings a little song before he takes his number from the wheel, but he gets upset and says, does this mean he'll have to quarantine? And Aldis is like, no. And then he says, okay. And then he starts calling him Adam and Mr. Pierce. And he also congratulates him for growing his hair out so fast. R-Truth, gosh. Man. Again, R-Truth just doesn't need a title. I mean, to give him the titles, I think he deserves it. But, again, he's a hidden treasure. He's set. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer. He's succeeding by the character. Not by how many titles, but by the character. The Judgment Day. Live, laugh, love. His childhood hero, John Cena. But again, R-Truth just turned 52 years old. Cena's like, what, 46, 47? My bad. I still remember when I first became a fan of Truth, I'm going to pin Carmella. Oh, Truth, don't pick me up. That's what's up. Oh, man. And it took me... I still wish I was watching live and he was a heel, though. Little Jimmy and you got. Oh, man. What if he would bring back Little Jimmy? At this point, though, I don't know. I think it seems so far away. I don't think they would ever turn R-Truth heel again. Because he's just way too good in this role. But you never know. And if I'm wrong, then I will gladly say, my bad. All right. So then we had our women tag title match. The champs, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, taking on the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane of Damage Control. Not much. It was a good match. Again, I do like that. Although the reign was short, them kind of giving Katana and Kaden this spotlight. They're really trying to showcase these women's tag teams. They've got to, though, get more of a story to them. Like, some of them, like Kabuki Warriors, I think, they have some. Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, they're getting there. Like, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, though, like, I like them, but I still think they're green, especially Indy. I think they call Indy up too soon. And Candice kind of needs a little bit of a story again. I am intrigued in the team with Tegan and Natalia, but they keep losing a lot. I like Zoe and Shayna together, but they're really trying. But again, it's just like they gotta have some more stories with these women's tag titles. Oh, of course, then Chelsea and Piper, but I still would have rather seen Chelsea and Carmella, in my opinion. Piper should be on her own, not being someone else's muscle, but Carmella could maybe be back soon. They may reunite that act. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, Kabuki Warriors eventually do win with the inverted DDT into a diving elbow combination. And they're now, I believe, 2-time women's tag team champions. Awesome, as it should be, to make Kabuki Warriors, the Empire Control, look so powerful for whenever the turn on Bayley comes, which, again, I'm not sure how that's going to work now since the turn hasn't happened yet. And I still think Bayley should be winning the Rumble, but how can she at this point and, have damage control, provoke her to come after Io? I don't know, but we'll see. Oh, you want to know, that one thing about, not making damage control look stupid. But you know what's hilarious? Paul Heyman has his backstage chat with Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. He first tries talking some sense into Solo, saying that he really needs to fix the problem this week and not be merciful. As for Jimmy, he tells him Roman sees the moment to move from big dog to tribal chief. And if Jimmy can seize that moment of Seth Rollins walking on one leg by making him a martyr, enter the Rumble, win the Rumble, challenge Seth to the world title, and bring the World Heavyweight Championship to the Bloodline, then he'll understand that the line of succession to who is truly the tribal heir. So basically, and it's kind of true, Solo Sikoa was dubbed tribal heir after he beat John Cena, yet like Austin Theory, all he's doing is losing and losing and losing ever since, and that's not how it should be. Now, Jimmy Uso, who's done nothing but lose and has been a freaking chump, hasn't done much better. But Paul Heyman is giving Jimmy Uso the task to win the Rumble and take the title from Seth. I just think that is hilarious. Because Jimmy's barely even won a match since he turned heel. He has really even no character development. Other than the fact he goes, yeet, no yeet. All that jazz. We have Bianca Belair and Bayley each selecting their own numbers for the Rumble match. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are coming out, getting ready for... They were supposed to have a match with the Final Testament. And then, of course, they list off their accomplishments. They came to fight, and he calls out the Final Testament. And in the Final Testament, Officer Payne, Paul Ellering, Scarlett, and Karrion Kross all come out. Scarlett gets in the ring and stares Bobby down. And Lashley said, what kind of coward leaves this lady to do his work? And Dawkins says, this is supposed to be a face-to-face. Montez Ford says he's figured it out. Final Testament's scared. A thing they could never be. Paul Ellering says there's no fear in Karrion Kross. And Kross says Paul speaks truth. And all he sees in the ring is frustration and desperation. And he gets it. They feel like things aren't going to plan. Like they're not in control. But guess what? They're not. But he'll give Bobby Lashley one thing. They were supposed to do this face-to-face here. But they're not getting their fight tonight. Lashley says he'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But they lie because they certainly are fighting tonight. So the Street Profits jump to head up and brawl with the Office of Pain. But Scarlett jumps Bobby Lashley and claws his eyes. And then Karrion Kross runs in and beats down Bobby. And Office of Pain beat down the Street Profits. I guess we're pushing it off maybe till Chamber for this match. Or something for Mania. We'll see. But I am interested definitely in both of these stables. And we'll see where it goes. Jimmy Uso picks his number for the Rumble. Says no yeet. Not good with it. Who knows what it is. Nobody seemed happy with their number. Let's put it that way. Austin Theory takes on Carmelo Hayes. And Carmelo Hayes loses because Austin Theory did a handful of tights. Sucks, but whatever. It'll be fine. Afterwards, there's a 2-on-1 beatdown until whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. My name's Trick Williams. I'm 6'4". I don't remember the rest. I just know I was in kind of a handful of promos, but he seems big. Trick Williams though came out and makes the save. The reunion ain't totally happy though because for what I've seen when I've read some NXT results, they're teasing something between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. And he only but the reunion isn't totally happy though because Trick says he only saved Mello because of the semifinals for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. After that, basically, he's on his own. So that'll be interesting, of course, for sure. As I believe the two of them have their semifinal match against LWO's Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, I believe it is. We have Eladio Carrion backstage. See how it's super fun being in the ring. And he breaks Randy Orton's win the Universal title. But then the Bloodline roll up and intimidate him. He's appropriately scared and offers respect. And the rest of them show the respect back. And then main event was LA Knight and Solo Sikoa. Match ends in DQ when AJ Styles jumps the barricade, hits a phenomenal forearm on LA Knight. Because they keep teasing the fact that, AJ Styles is a heel, he's an aggressive babyface. Of course, he still showed his more aggressive babyface style because when the Bloodline give him a chair to attack LA Knight with, instead, he attacks the Bloodline first and then he goes after LA Knight. But then Randy Orton came out and got his revenge on Styles for what he did earlier. And then Orton was standing tall at the end of the show until LA Knight comes out of nowhere and he hits a BFT on Randy Orton. And that's how the show ends. So not a bad go-home show, I would say. I know that, SmackDown, I think, has not been quite as strong as Raw has been lately. There were still some nice little teases on the show. Again, I am interested in seeing what does happen with Elektra Lopez and this LWO and Legado del Fantasma 2.0 feud. I'm glad to see Carmelo Hayes get more TV time, which he would not have lost, but we'll see where that goes. I still think it's funny about Jimmy Uso to go into the Rumble just so he can dethrone Seth Rollins. Ain't happening. But of course, Kabuki Warriors winning I thought was a good move as well. So I wouldn't say it was a bad episode of SmackDown. I don't really have a grade to give it though, but we got other things to move on and talk about. Before we do that though, let's check the live chat. See who we got here. Who we got here. I believe we were where Tyler said, looks like Brock ain't coming back soon. We'll talk about that shortly as well. Haven't heard much new about Brock other than what I heard yesterday. He hopes AJ or LA Knight wins the title at Rumble. Be nice, but I still think Roman's retaining. R-Truth was funny on the show for sure. R-Truth is Patrick from SpongeBob. You're pretty accurate on that there, I would say. Asuka needs to be on her own again. Probably should have because, they would have booked her right and not have her lose to Bianca at WrestleMania last year. Being John Cena nowadays means nothing. Remember when AJ and Owens beat him? They won world champions. That's very true. That is very true. The last couple people beat John Cena, Austin Theory, and Solo Sikoa haven't really had a good fallout from it, if I'm being honest. Stop pushing Ivar. Again, I like what Ivar's done so far as a single star, in my opinion. But they're not, overdoing him, I don't think. Io is a paper champion. I don't think Io's horrible, but she's not. Io Sky is not on the same level as Io Shirai was, so it could be better. Asuka should face Charlotte last year, made and not run into the Bianca buzzsaw. Ah, man. Oh well. But thank you guys as always for your thoughts in the live chat. I keep it coming. But I think, guys, it's time. I think it's time to talk about the big news of the week. And again, I'm going to be careful. I'm going to be discreet. I'm going to, make sure I don't say the wrong words. I just want to, in the cleanest way possible, tell you guys, give my thoughts on what's been going on and how it led to the big news today. Vince McMahon. So, as we all know, everybody has... Vince McMahon, let's start with it this way. Is he a successful businessman? He is, yes. If it weren't for him, the wrestling business wouldn't be where it is today. And that is very true. But you cannot deny his attitude, his ego, him just not stepping aside when it's the proper time, and just bullying people. Whether if it's how he's been accused, or, obviously how, he literally, as I've said for the longest time, literally just treated the WWE like it was his own personal playground. Like he's playing, a video game on custom mode and making everything exactly how he wants it to be, rather than letting his own talent just blossom and listen to his fans. As long as he had the money coming in, that's all he cared about. That's all he ever cared about. And he was always been nothing but power hungry. It was all about power, all about control. As long as it benefited him, that's all the man cared about. We thought it was finally over when, out of the blue, in 2022, he got hit with some accusations of some very not so nice things he had done to some superstars, with some involvement also as well from former WWE head of talent relations and former executive vice president of talent relations and the general manager of Raw and SmackDown, John Laurinaitis, apparently as well was involved in some of these instances. As suggested by the board and the special counsel, which included his son-in-law Triple H and his own daughter, Stephanie McMahon, who before this time took a leave of absence from the company. And when did she come back? When did she come back? She came back right after Vince retired the first time. And as soon as he came back, because he was gone. And then, look, I watch SVU, Law and Order SVU. I've, seen, episodes, and it obviously gives you an idea of what, cases are like in situations like this. Especially the things Vince McMahon has had lawsuits and other accusations filed against him. I do not understand at all. I feel like there hasn't been anything clear. Do people believe Vince McMahon is capable of doing the things he's been accused of? with how, like, power hungry he's always been, I'll say if he has done them, I wouldn't be surprised. But of course, then again, we have never been told for sure. It's not been ruled. I mean, yes, his house has been raided, I believe it was. You know, he's been investigated many times. Like, look at Owen Hart, whenever he was sued over that. The one steroid scandal thing or whatnot. But let's just put it how it is. Vince McMahon has always found a way to get his way. To get what he wants. And to just, I don't know, just he's come across as that villain that you just want to see them get his comeuppance, but it just feels like it's never going to happen because every time they think he's out, there's some way he gets back in. And that's what happened whenever time had passed and he wanted back in. And the board of directors, his own son-in-law, his own daughter, told him, you need to stay away. You can be the majority shareholder and, stay home though. Let us run the job, but you got to stay away. You got dirt on your name. But Vince couldn't do it. He could not do it. He could not stand that the show was better without him. And he knew that. But in my honest opinion, if he had it his way, if these accusations never came out, Vince McMahon would have been in the chair until the day he died. He would have wanted the company to come tumbling down with him. And somehow he almost got away with it again. Because as soon as the calendar changed over to 2023 last year, there was already rumors that Vince McMahon was trying to find his way back in. And that he was told no. No. But then, even though the guy is out of touch, he just knows how to be a manipulator. As the majority shareholder at the time of WWE, he basically wrote a letter that said that he should be on the board of directors. Say, especially if it's coming up for the sale of WWE. Which, even a question that also lies here too is, why did he have to sell? Why didn't he just hand over the company to his family? To Stephanie. Well, Stephanie and Nick Khan were both like co-owners. Triple H, chief content officer. And I think head of talent relations. I'm not sure if he still is or if he gave some of that over as well. Because I do know for a fact that he was not put on the board of directors once the sale closed back on September 12th. But he basically said, as a majority shareholder, if you do not put him back on the board, then he will not agree on any TV deals. And he basically threatened us to let the company crumble. So he bullied his way in and they had no choice. They brought him back early January of 2023. And then 4 days later, the internet was just blowing up. I remember I was on my business trip, sitting in a casino, in a chair at a slot machine in Vegas. Whenever it was this big news story that Vince McMahon had sold the WWE just 4 days after he got back in his seat and was named executive chairman of the board. And he was going to be selling to Saudi Arabia, which ended up not being true. It just felt like a nightmare. But that was just... I still kind of feel like that was a test to see how the fans would react. But then he thought, let's slow down. Let's play the game of injecting that lethal poisoning and just have it spread. And for a while, he's saying stuff like, don't worry, I love what Stephanie and Paul are doing. They're doing an excellent job in their roles. I don't want to interfere there. I just want to be here to be a part of the sale. Which we all knew was bullcrap. Because if he just wanted to be a part of the sale, why was slowly things changing? Why was there calls being made to change things up? Why was he allowed to have some input on the creative side? He wanted to drive Triple H nuts. He wanted to get Triple H out and him back in creative. And when it was announced that Endeavor was buying WWE, merging them in the UFC to form the TKO group holdings, and when Vince McMahon first off says that the answer of will he be involved with creative? Yes or no? From a higher level, yeah, but in the weeds, no, I can't do that. I knew he was lying. He was lying straight through his teeth. And then, of course, when I think he was asked about the allegations at the time he had been accused of. First off, again, we never found out for sure if he did them or not. But he says, I know I made some mistakes before, but I'm sorry, but blah, 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 blah. But even when he said that, I'm like, you're not sorry. Because why immediately, WrestleMania weekend was when it happened. Like, the first hint I got that Vince McMahon was not just there for the sale was when they booked Brock Lesnar and Omos into a match at WrestleMania. Who on earth would say that? Have that match, especially when he lost to Brock, he lost to Seth, and he's only time we've seen Omos on TV since was when he appeared in that SummerSlam Battle Royale. You knew plans were nixed. Big time. Between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. But then, of course, Vince McMahon... Well, and also, full proof that Vince was back. Raw after Mania. He was in full control that night. My goodness, how on earth do you have Seth Rollins get his segment during a commercial break pulled? And all this other crap. You knew that show was Vince. I was so upset that night. You remember, I almost pulled the plug on Raw and SmackDown reviews again that week. Because I was that upset. And then, of course, here and there, other things came out. Other accusations about Vince came out. But nothing that grave, apparently. That it was like the end of the world. Even there was something where there was some rumor that the sale that just happened was being investigated in or something like that. I went haywire for 2 weeks on Twitter, tweeting my displeasures about Vince McMahon. But of course, nothing could be done at that point. I thought we were screwed. At first, when it was TK with Endeavor, I'm like, okay, this is kind of in the middle. This could work. This may not work. We're being told Triple H is still in charge. But basically, again, that answer of yes and no with Vince being involved creative was the same thing he said back when Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman were named executive producers for Raw and SmackDown. And how long did that last? Not long at all. I don't think Eric Bischoff ever even got to the chair before he was gone. And they replaced him with Bruce Pritchard, who was Mr. Whatever you say, boss, and did everything Vince McMahon said to do. Now, of course, Triple H, of course, he knew what Vince was doing to the guys he worked so hard to make stars for in NXT. And he even ruined Triple H's baby as well, NXT in 2021. So much so that I stopped watching it. But then again, he still respects Vince. That's his father-in-law. He still wanted his input. But of course, he couldn't. He couldn't ignore it. He couldn't. But then, of course, Triple H finally started getting more power back whenever Vince went on medical leave around SummerSlam. But then there was obviously some hints of him coming back. And of course, the one last big middle finger was that last Raw in September, the night before the sale closed, with Nia Jax returning. You knew that was a Vince McMahon move, because who the heck wanted to bring back Nia Jax? Although Triple H did, in fact, put her in the Rumble as surprise entrant with a botched finish last year. But then again, apparently she had been back pretty much for the most time since Vince McMahon had returned. So that's 50-50 on Triple H there, in my opinion. But then when the closing happened, so I'm pretty sure everybody thought the whole plan was for Vince McMahon. Well, Vince McMahon's plan was to find some way to do this sale just so he could sell it to people that he's familiar with and for him to regain power. Well, I think it backfired. Well, first off, also, something else I think he lied about. He claims he didn't want to keep going, but Ari talked him into staying. That, again, I don't believe at all whatsoever. He had every intention of staying. Bullcrap. Absolute bullcrap. But it was just only a matter of time with all these other minor accusations until something else would come out. And that happened yesterday, where Janel Grant, a former, I guess, backstage employee or whatever, revealed all these stories about all this nasty actions that Vince McMahon apparently did to her. I guess she came to WWE looking for a job after her parents died. She seemed pretty desperate for what it seemed. Vince McMahon, though, just took full advantage, it seemed like. And again, I'm not going to repeat any details of the stories or the texts or anything else that was said, because like I said, I don't want to get vulgar. I don't want to risk, saying something offensive or something that could get this video in trouble. But you read the stuff, and it's just horrific. If what in fact was said was done was true, then this man needs help. Him tag teaming with John Laurinaitis, threatening this woman with her job, possibly also just rubbing in her face the fact that she needs her job because of, what happened with her parents. Everything else, showing photos to other people and basically, bragging about what he has. Or the part apparently where he had certain toys and he would be naming them after wrestlers and just hurting this woman with them. And then, this one, of course, apparently the story of this woman was used in a not good way to get Brock Lesnar to come back at SummerSlam in 2021. And Brock apparently said, I like what I see. And I don't know if there was any further action on that. I haven't heard anything more on Brock's status. Again, I predicted him to maybe be an entrant in the Rumble, even though based off of rumors of Gunther maybe fighting Seth at WrestleMania now, or people still want to see Chad Gable dethrone Gunther. I don't know who else Brock would face. Maybe Bobby Lashley and finally have that finishing match to that feud. That should have honestly happened at last year's Mania instead of Brock Lesnar and Omos. But the future's uncertain for Brock as well. He's not 100% innocent either if this stuff is true. Again, it has not been confirmed that they've been arrested. Well, Vince McMahon obviously, is being investigated. He is trying to clear his name. But what was I going with this? But Brock Lesnar may have had his legacy tarnished too. And it sounds like people are claiming that people like Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H even knew about all this too. But I guess what some sources are saying, the alibi possibly, and again, this is not me giving my opinion, this is just what I'm hearing from sources. Alibi is they did know, they tried to protect everybody, the victims. Again, if this is true, which again, I can't say for sure it's true. But they tried to protect everybody by telling Vince he's got to go in 2022. But again, using his power, his money, he got his way back in. And he was paying these people hush money too. And he was using business expenses, I guess, to pay these people off. These multiple NDAs. And apparently this Janel Grant was getting gifts. If again, this is all true. But these rounds of out, the first time, in 2022, Vince retired. But first off, again, it was only a matter of time before something else came out. Obviously, I don't know if I don't have the full will to say this all happened. With how big of an ego Vince has, how power hungry, do I believe it's possible he may be guilty? Yes. But again, we don't know for sure. Innocent until proven guilty. But if he is in fact guilty, then he should be locked up. Especially the actions that apparently happened with Janel Grant. He should be locked up. But then, of course, today, we were told yesterday that TKO was, investigating into this, taking these accusations very seriously. Especially there's photos of texts and all this other stuff on the internet. Again, it was just, it was horrifying to read and everything. But Vince McMahon, so talent was told to lay low about this. I think also because, especially with the Rumble, especially with press conferences, they don't want this to be a focus. I'm pretty sure for the press conference after Rumble tomorrow, they don't want talent to be asked about this. But then today, first I hear that Vince McMahon's merchandise was removed from WWE's site. Then we hear that Slim Jim has suspended their sponsorship. Like, that didn't happen in 2022. There was no sponsorships being suspended or people threatening to pull sponsorships at the time. But I think when the sponsorships started being pulled, that's when something had to happen. And then tonight, while watching SmackDown, the first thing I see about this was a post from Sean Ross Sapp. And let me see if I can find it. I know I retweeted it on my Twitter. Sean Ross Sapp had tweeted a post from Nick Khan. And he had said that, I want to inform you that Vince McMahon has tendered his resignation from his position as TKO executive chairman and on the TKO board of directors. He will no longer have a role with TKO Group Holdings or WWE. That is a statement from Nick Khan that was retweeted by Sean Ross Sapp this evening, which is the first thing I saw of officially resigned. Then, of course, Vince McMahon himself did, in fact, apparently issue a statement. And let me see if I can find that statement. Where is it? Come on, I know I saw it earlier. Which also, of course, too, WrestleOps also tweeted out a few things too. And one thing that was tweeted also from PW Insider is, while Vince McMahon is still a massive stockholder in the company, he can't force his way back into power the way he did the last time he resigned. Post Endeavor sale, he's no longer the majority stockholder and would not have the power to return the way he did before. Then again, who knows how else he always seems to find a way. So I'm not going to be like, giddy up, he's gone for good. The man's a businessman. He's a ruthless businessman. If he wants back in, especially if he's innocent from all this, then he'll find a way. How, I don't know, but you can't say never anymore. But his statement was, I stand by my prior statement that Ms. Grant's lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene, made-up instances that never occurred, and is a vindictive distortion of the truth. I intend to vigorously defend myself against these baseless accusations and look forward to clearing my name. However, out of respect for the WWE Universe, the extraordinary TKO business and its board members and shareholders, partners and constituents, and all the employees and superstars who help make WWE into the global leader it is today, I have decided to resign from my executive chairmanship and the TKO board of directors effective immediately. That was a statement from Vince McMahon himself. And then another thing I saw, WrestleOps also tweeted out, saying there is a belief, and depending on who you are, a concern, that Endeavor may sweep out anyone close to Vince McMahon and his remaining team in order to have a complete fresh sweep of the company going forward. There were employees who exited the company when Vince initially resigned, who returned when he forced his way back in. For those who have remained with WWE post-Endeavor purchase, the belief among those we've spoken with tonight is their connection to McMahon may be a major negative going forward for their WWE status. Which I may say maybe those few names that he put back on the board when he came back last year. I can't remember what their names were. They were really like some bunch of no names or whatnot, but that could be the case. But I will say this. As far as him resigning, and, well, first off, again, we don't know whether he is innocent or not. I first off still think this whole sale backfired on him. He did not get the power that he wanted. I don't think he wanted. Triple H got knighted, basically, this past fall, shortly after the sale went through. Triple H was knighted by Emanuel, like 99% of creative. And since then, we really haven't seen much inklings of Vince. Like, I don't feel like the shows have been insulting. Yes, have there been several filler? Yes. Because a lot of them, especially the past 2 months, I would say, have been Triple H trying to give green superstars, like people who like are still very green, try to give them some opportunities. Some are growing, some still need work. But as I've always said, the biggest thing I always ask is just don't insult our intelligence like Vince McMahon did. The booking Vince McMahon gave us just always felt like he was just playing around and just, just toying around because he knew he could get away with anything. And someone like that especially is just someone that I just want to see get put in their place. And, also too, and it's kind of something I wanted to say because I do want to talk about in a separate video, Patrick Clark, the Velveteen Dream. He recently has been, been a little more, vocal, issuing an apology on Twitter. He had an interview with Chris Van Vliet that I'd like to talk about. Some of these accusations may not be true, but what I think we all can agree on, whether if it is Patrick Clark or Vince McMahon, is that their attitude, even if it's not in the physical sense of accusations he's gotten, just the personality in general may just be a reason why some of these people want to get revenge on people like a Vince McMahon or a Patrick Clark. I mean, that's what it may be. I mean, again, is it wrong to accuse somebody of the things that he's been accused of? Yes. And if he didn't do it, then yes, that's wrong. But there should have been another way to put this man in his place, again, if he in fact is innocent. But again, knowing his attitude, knowing his ego, knowing his history, if he was found guilty of all this, I wouldn't be surprised. Him resigning, though, could have been him beating everybody else to the punch. He wanted to control his narrative. He wanted to end it his way. And he basically may have been backed in the corner, put into the guillotine, and he tapped out. Well, okay, I wouldn't say he legitimately was, but it's basically like, he was, being held down, like metamorphically. He was trapped, and he finally tapped out. Because, I mean, then again, how would I know? Maybe he was trying to, wait for these accusations to come out, try to point fingers at everybody else, basically, who apparently may have known about this. But the point is, he's gone. And at this point, again, he had to understand his time, again, has he succeeded? Yes. Would the business be where it is today if it wasn't for Vincent Kennedy McMahon Jr.? It wouldn't be. But his time passed. He didn't know when to let go. But he just couldn't stand the fact that, he had to be in control. He had to be in control, and instead, of course, just of a product that wasn't working out, he was making it into his own playground, making it a miserable place to be. And the only people he wanted by his side are people who were going to do things his way. He didn't care about the audience. As long as he got the money and got to do whatever the heck he wanted to, that's all he cared about. Like I said, if he in fact did do what Janel Grant and several of these others have accused him of, then again, he belongs in jail. If not, I do feel sorry for him, but also just gotta be honest. Again, at some point, even if it didn't come down to like these accusations, the man needed to be put in his place. So Vince is gone. I'm not going to sit here and like throw a party, because out of respect, again, I don't know if he's innocent or guilty from all this. Again, I've said many times, do I believe he could be capable of something like that with his attitude and his ego? Yes. But once again, we have never been told that he indeed was guilty. Even though I know he's lied so many times. This man, whether he was innocent or guilty of these accusations, this man is still a monster. He's a ruthless businessman who still, verbally bullied people, said awful things to people, and just really talked some people down. Because they weren't part of his vision. He would destroy whatever he didn't create that was in his company. Including NXT. When he made it his own, tried to make it his own thing with NXT 2.0 and the Nickelodeon version of NXT with that rainbow graphics and whatnot, which was, oh god. As soon as that happened, I just leaked shit there. And there were several times where I wanted to pull the plug again on WWE, especially when he came back and had that Raw after Mania. But as of tonight, January 26, 2024, he is no longer on the board of directors. He is no longer executive chairman. He no longer has no role. And he no longer even has a profile on WWE's roster. He's gone. Vince McMahon is gone. He lost his power. I mean, he still has some sort of sharehold, but unlike last year, he is not the majority shareholder. And I'm pretty sure TKO, Emanuel, the rest of the group, The Rock, all of them, they're taking this very seriously. Like, even though, again, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, again, and Nick Khan, obviously, knew, if this is true, knew these accusations were out there. And, even though they may not have interviewed people like a Janel Grant at the time, in 2022, they still knew they existed. So rather than putting more dirt on him, they still, to me, they still, in a way of still showing justice, still told him he had to go and go home before things got worse. But instead, he chose to fight back. If that's the case, then I don't blame Stephanie McMahon for leaving when he came back. She didn't take a leave of absence. She fled ship. Now, maybe she'll come back. I don't know. Because, again, how do we not know if Vince McMahon can have something else to do? Vince McMahon is friends with these people with TKO when they got together. They were friends. How do we not know he can manipulate them or throw all of his money at them for him to buy TKO himself? Him saying that he can't do this, and that anymore is all bullcrap. He will do anything to get any power he can. So, for now, it seems like Vince McMahon may have lost the war and maybe lost some of his power and may seem gone for good. But it wouldn't surprise me if he gets proven innocent that he'll find his way back. And we could be going through this again someday. I don't want to get my hopes up. I'm sure none of you guys want to get their hopes up either. But yeah. What a day. What a week. I feel like things would not have gone as crazy immediately, but I think the sponsorship thing with Slim Jim suspending their sponsorship, I think that's what kind of put the nail in the coffin, I think. Which would led to this. I think Vince basically knew if he didn't do something, TKO was going to do something about it. So, not sure what else to say. I've spoken my story. I've given my thoughts. Like I said, I always wanted Vince McMahon out of power? Yes. Like I said, if this is true, then of course he deserves all he got. But if he's innocent, then I feel bad. But again, he still needed to realize at some point his time had passed. And it was time for him to hand the keys down to others who were ready to provide what the WWE has, despite him getting back in, has still produced some of the best numbers they've produced in a long time. Between attendances and shows and their overseas, experiences as well. They're going to Australia next month. They're going to be going to France for Backlash. I think they're going to Toronto for Money in the Bank. Yes. They're going to Germany for Bash in Berlin. I think it's called in August. Like, they're thriving, and heck, they're thriving so much they even got CM Punk back. So you cannot still tell me that this company is thriving. But I think if they would have held on to him, especially with these recent allegations, that all could have gone away if they didn't. Well, I think the sponsorships, TKO going to Vince. Vince walks in going saying, I'll leave. I'm pretty sure that the sponsorships were the last straw. But that's all I gotta say. I think I've said my piece. Vince McMahon is gone. Will he come back, though? Will he try to come back? If something happens, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. And that, guys, that's my stream. Nice long stream. Funny enough, I brought both drinks up here, but I barely drank anything. I drank a little Sprite, barely any of my water. Yeah. Wow. Anybody still here? What are your thoughts? Live chat. Not much really, just Dom Nell saying wow, and Tyler saying this Vince thing is more horrible than Beyond the thing in 2007. Chris Benoit. I know it's I don't know where to go with that. Let's hope this year's Raw After Mania is not an awful one like last year. We are way due for a good Raw After Mania. I can't tell you the last time we actually had a good Raw After Mania. Because even going back to 2019, I was at that Raw After Mania in 2019. That sucked. That Raw absolutely sucked. It was kind of like Vince McMahon saying, okay, we gave you Seth, we gave you Becky, we gave you Kofi, but now let's book the shows like shit to show that they can't make a difference when they obviously could have. You just wanted to make them look like chumps. And of course, that was right before the wild card roll. I'm a genius. She was saying something else, but you know. But I think I did well. I think I got through. Didn't push the boundaries anywhere. I'll give it just a few more minutes. Mark says he's still here. Guys, if you're still here, Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on all this. Again, I gave my SmackDown review before. I gave my thoughts on Kevin Patrick getting fired. But, of course, the big story is Vince McMahon is resigning. What do you guys think of all this? Again, I mean, without going too vulgar, where do you stand with Vince? Do you think he's innocent? Do you think he's guilty? Where do you think he stands? And do you think there's anybody else that should, be held accountable for this as well? What do you guys all think? I'm very interested. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching this all after. I'll leave the live chat open for a few more minutes. Check Twitter, see if there's any more news about this. Let me see here. So far, not really seeing. Well, I just saw this crazy picture of Nia Jax expressing interest being part of the bloodline. Ugh. What if I had Naomi be back to be part of the bloodline? But of course, people are definitely hoping that Stephanie McMahon may come back. We will see, of course, if that happens as well. Tony Khan saying, we're very excited for our All Elite Wrestling, blah, 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 tonight. Hopefully that's not like a sarcastic remark he's trying to post there, but let me see here. Just that. There's that. I'm not really seeing anything else that's new other than what I already read. Yeah, I think everything's nothing really new right now. I mean, what else is there really to say other than the fact that he's gone? I'm pretty sure investigations will go on for a while. Maybe we'll find out eventually if all this is true or not. I do, though, wonder, of course, also what's going to happen with Brock. Because if Brock did what he did, too, oh, God. Of course, then again, if we go back to last year when he was talking about how he kept thinking about Bobby Lashley, when he got in bed with his wife, and I'm like, hold on there, Brock, hold on there. Are you going to really, say you thought about Bobby Lashley immediately over Sable? He thought about it for a second, then 5 hours later, but not looking for Brock either. I would be surprised if Brock showed up in the Rumble tomorrow at this point. I might be a head scratcher if he does. That might be a risk, because, of course, Velveteen Dream, I thought they could have been clear too. Well, again, we'll talk about Patrick Clark in a separate video. I'll try to do that one sometime this coming week. My thoughts of what we've recently been hearing about Patrick Clark. But, yeah, it looks like nothing else is being really said in the live chat. So it is 12:40 now. I think I'm going to get ready. Well, I'm going to definitely take the SmackDown portion of it, make it its own little separate video, and have that be uploaded. So that way those who want to see my thoughts on SmackDown could have a shorter version of the clip there. But yeah, guys, all you who join me live, thank you for coming up here live. Again, I knew I had to go live, especially when it comes to this big news about Vince McMahon resigning. Again, you wanted me to talk about it yesterday. I said I want to wait until some solution comes to this. Didn't want it to be something that just blew over the heads again. But again, I really think it was the sponsorship of Slim Jim that what led to these actions by Vince McMahon. Again, my thing is I'm pretty sure it was TKO probably going after Vince. Vince wanted to go out his own way and say, I surrender. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me live. Again, leave your thoughts down in the comments section below about all this. About Kevin Patrick, about SmackDown, Vince McMahon, all this stuff. You thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure, guys, as always, to slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And again, tomorrow we will be doing live reactions during the Men's Rumble only. Me and some of my friends. And we'll be there. And then, most likely not till Sunday, or if not Monday after work, my Royal Rumble review will take place then. And, of course, more stuff to come after that as well. So, guys, once again, have a good night. Catch you guys all later. Enjoy the Royal Rumble pay-per-view tomorrow. It should still be a very excellent show. And I do look forward to seeing what comes next for the road to WrestleMania 40. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!